$10 million.
Oh my God.
$100 million. And the guy's like, no, man, like it's got to be like maybe a 1 billion.
Oh
Is it
my
that
gosh.
high? And they're like, no. And at the time we were like $50 billion just in like trade deficit debt.
What's that look for? I am adopted, in case you're like questioning. If everyone questions me when I say that, because I always joke about
No,
stuff.
Cole was 100% adopted.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just talked to
look
his
at the
mom the other
scar.
day. That's an adoption. That's a Harry Potter scar.
Adoption scar. Yeah, I know. Right away, I'm kind of curious. What made you want to do this?
The podcast.
Yeah.
You know, I was
We don't
thinking about
even.
it.
We still don't even know each other. Like
No,
we do,
no.
but
No, we have no idea who each other is, which is cool because I really believe that this is a way to bring visibility to things that we want to talk about. And I noticed that you were very comfortable with the idea that like it doesn't matter where you come from, what you believe in, what your background is, like this is going to be like something anybody can do.
yeah.
And I like that. I think that we all look at podcasting and we think like, oh man, like Joe Rogan does it. Like, and shout out to Joe, doing a great job, bud.
We love you, Joe.
We love you, Joe. But like, it's not just for him. It's just not for the Ben Shapiros and the Joe Rogans and the Anderson Coopers. It's of the world. It's for all of us. And I think like people want to hear what we have to say, at like a baseline level.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was my doctor's calling. I just got some bad news. I had a stomach test.
You just got bad news?
Yeah. Well,
you know what it is?
Like, oh no, they talked to me earlier. I've got like a bacterial infection inside my stomach. Yeah.
Are you going to have to go get that surgery done in Mexico where they like make your stomach smaller?
No, I think that's called gastric bypass. I think they do that here.
Oh, but you could get it done in Mexico for like a quarter of the price. But that's probably unrelated.
That seems like rather unrelated. No. I think it's completely on par. No, I have this this bug in my stomach and it's been causing me to be sick. And like really sick, and to the point where I'm like losing weight, like losing muscle mass, losing stuff like that.
No way.
Yeah. It's some kind of pathogen that I contracted. They think it's from contaminated water or uncooked chicken.
Really?
Which is weird.
I mean, you've been traveling quite a bit.
We do travel. We spent a month in the Dominican, but like I don't eat uncooked chicken really. I don't eat cooked chicken a lot, so it'd be hard for me to eat uncooked chicken, you know?
Oh, okay. Wait, you're saying you exclusively eat uncooked chicken?
No, I exclusively cook chicken, but how little I eat means that it'd be very hard for me to eat uncooked chicken as well.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
You know?
Is the reason you've lost so much weight also due to just like not eating as much?
No, I don't think so. It's been like an unnatural weight loss. Like I'm having fluctuations where it's like 10 pounds in a week and a half or something like that.
Yikes.
It's like, that's not healthy.
Yeah, that's not.
I don't want that. So, yeah, anyways, they were calling back for something.
Do you need to take
It's,
that?
actually, no, I want to read it on, is that
On
cool?
the video? That's so funny.
Okay. Hi, this is Diamond Small with Wyoming Department of Health. If you can give me a call back. Because what I have is technically communicable. I just need to make sure I wash my hands after using the bathroom.
Like share it with us?
Yeah, like
Oh,
you could get it
fun.
technically.
We should have the first podcast ever where people are sharing their viruses.
Bacterias, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be cool.
That could be fun. Dang.
Sharing
what a
is
guy.
caring.
Sharing is caring. Wait, how was it again that you went about getting that test done?
I had to, so they gave me a bucket
Uh-huh.
and I had to defecate into the bucket.
Defecate.
Yeah,
What do you mean by defecate?
So like defecate, I think it's like a fancy word, and they told me these things because I wouldn't know that word either. They were like, you need to poop in this bucket. So this is kind of how it happened. Yesterday, I'm like in there I'm doing like my annual physical, and they're taking my blood and all these other labs, and Boomer's like laying at my feet, just chilling. They're like, oh yeah, what a cute boy, blah blah blah, talking to me all casual, and they're like, all right, well you need to defecate in this bucket we call it a hat. And I was like, you want me to poop in a hat? They're like, yeah. they hand me this thing. It looks like a cowboy hat upside down.
No way.
So it fits on the toilet seat, and then you put the lid down, and then the bowl is now trapped in between.
Ooh.
So you can poop
how
into
fun.
it. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Imagine being the people that get to play with that all day.
So I'm like, well, okay, I gotta go, I guess. So I think they thought I was gonna go somewhere and come back with it. I went right in their bathroom and did it. And then they give you a tongue depressor to scoop it out and put it into another.
Oh, they let you do it.
Oh no, they make you do it.
Oh, okay. I was imagining them just like walking into the bathroom afterwards and like getting to deal with it.
No. They just
Okay.
get the feces and the.
So nasty.
Oh, it was so gross, and I felt like perverted because my dog is watching me. I was like, "Do not like look away, please."
It's different when I watch you.
Yeah. You think about all the times that Boomer, poops.
Shitting.
And I think at this point, we need to show Boomer pooping. So we'll like.
picture
I've got some pictures.
I have a lot of pictures
Yeah,
of
I
it.
actually have a lot professional ones. So we'll use those. Anyways, yeah. So turns out I got a stomach bug.
Dang.
So I'm gonna take some azithromycin.
Fun. But it's not going to be like any crazy procedure or anything, right?
Not unless it gets worse.
That's good.
It's better. The name of it starts with a C, which is really weird. It sounds like cancer, but it's like camphor or something like that. And I was like, "Did you just said I have a cancer bacteria?" And I was like, "What's a cancer bacteria?" And she's like, No. She kept saying it. I'm like, "Lady, I'm deaf. You prescribed me my hearing aids. Like, you know that I can't hear. Like, I need you to say it one more time."
Yeah.
Can you spell it?
She's like, cancer.
Yeah. I was like, okay. I was getting hot feels on the back of my neck.
Oh,
I'm like,
that's
am I going to find out I have cancer
Yeah.
right now? Which would be also a fun podcast, I think. Like
Colon cancer? That's a thing, isn't it?
a buddy of mine just died from it.
What?
35 years old.
Oh my gosh. That's so
Because
sad.
It's something we just don't talk about. As like young men, it's something that we don't think is going to happen.
Yeah.
And
It just comes out of nowhere.
my other buddy, 38, got a colonoscopy the other day. And they found a bunch of polyps. And they had to excise them. They had to take them out.
Dang it.
So it's like one of those things, we have to take our health more seriously than we ever have before.
Or we have the ability to as well.
Exactly. I just think in our culture, men are just told to suck it up.
Yeah.
And I'm talking like ubiquitous, like across America. Like men are told to like suck it up.
Yeah.
Especially think about guys in Utah, Wyoming, you know what I mean? In this area where more rural and agriculture based.
Yeah.
They're like, dude, just suck it up.
Well, it's because we're so privileged.
We have. Do you think white privilege is a contributing factor to cancer?
Oh, definitely. I think cancerous bacteria, picks and chooses who it wants to attack.
And I think white men, 30 years old, do you think that there's like a credit score? I think we should determine credit score and the possibility of getting cancer based off your credit score. We could do that.
I feel like that would be fair. So like people who have a bad credit score get cancer?
No. I don't think it. I think it picks and chooses. I think it's like, oh, you have like a 650. Maybe there's a range. What if we found that it was like between like 650 and 720? Like you're getting.
So what
cancer.
you're trying to say is this whole time we've been thinking cancer is coming from like our food or the air or something. It's actually coming from
our credit.
Yeah.
Oh. And I don't think if it's like you have bad credit, then you're gonna get cancer. I think it's like there's a range.
You think so?
I hope so. I mean,
I feel like we need to fact check that.
Yeah, we should do a fact check.
Okay.
It's on its way.
Producers got our backs.
Yeah, she's got our backs. But anyways, so apparently my credit score is either too high or not high enough. I don't have cancerous bacteria, which is good news.
Do most rich people have a good credit score? Rich meaning above middle class.
I think in we come from Wyoming, right? I'll say we. There's a mouse in my pocket. No, I think like I lived in Wyoming the past 5 years before I moved here, and I moved like slowly down I-80. So I started in Park City and then went downtown, and now I'm obviously in Gay Break. or daybreak for the rest of you who don't know, who aren't in the know. But no, I think we believe like wealth is a little bit different in Wyoming than I think Utah does. Mm-hmm. I think Utah's perceived wealth. I think people look at the watches you wear, the cars you drive, the clothes you wear, and they're like, yeah, that guy's got money.
Yeah.
And then in Wyoming, we see all that, and we're like, that guy's one paycheck away from being broke.
Wait, why is that?
We think everybody in Utah just lives on credit.
Oh.
And they're borrowing everything.
Yeah.
And I think that's everywhere. But here, like, they'll splurge to make sure that their shoes look nice. And that's a weird thing. Like in Wyoming, they're splurging to make sure it's different when I have to buy things for, some agro equipment that's very expensive, and I've got to go out on a limb, and like I might not see this return for 6 or 9 months. Like I'm going to live on credit on this, or I need a truck that's dependable.
So you're using credit how it was supposed to be
intended
used,
to be,
ideally. Yeah.
Wait, how do we think credit was intended to be used?
I mean, you probably have something really quick.
You have something to add?
Just the comparison of credit scores compared to cancer technically does have a correlation, but you can look at that as you get older, your credit score gets better, and as you get older, you're more likely to get cancer.
Okay, so this is a shout out to all the homies out there. 720 is too high. Like we just.
So here's what you need to do. As you get older, you need to make sure your credit score is slowly declining.
Yeah, and then you're beating the odds.
There you go.
Gosh, I never thought of that.
That's so funny.
That's actually really interesting.
Anyways, going back to the whole concept of like
wealthy.
What debt is like, I mean, the original concept is like going to your neighbor and saying like, hey, could I like borrow 3 ears of corn, like I need to feed my family this weekend or something like that, and then you just like pay them back next summer in a month or something, or like, hey, I need to borrow $10 to go buy a cow. I mean, that's the way I imagine it being, and then it became a business.
Yeah, like if you really think about it, all of our banks and all of these institutions that lend money, if you look at Klarna, look at Afterpay, Affirm, all these, I mean,
do you think those should be illegal?
I mean, they are just gouging people. They're like, 0%. And it's like, and I'll be honest, I've used it on some stuff because I just thought it was more convenient.
Yeah.
Maybe, we just invested a bunch of money into property in St. George area. So to stay positive on cash flow or to stay cash rich.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, well, you're going to give me 4 months, 0% interest. All I have to do is make payments on it.
Yeah.
Well, that's easy. That doesn't affect me. But I think what it does is it gives young men and women a false narrative of like things they have versus things they don't have.
Yeah.
And I think it's very easy when you don't see how much you owe on one thing to be like, oh, well, I've got Klarna on this, and I've got Affirm on this, and I've got Afterpay on that. Next thing you know, you've got 3 of them, and you've got $4,000 of debt in each, and now you're $12,000 in debt.
Yeah, not even including like all the actual credit cards.
Correct. That
and
they've already
student loans.
Correct. And so I think that like, I don't know what the origin of being a debtor is, or allowing people to take debt from you, but I'd imagine that it did originate, back in the day, and it was something where people, obviously needed something and somebody else had extra.
Yeah.
And they were like, all right, what's it worth for me to borrow some of your extra?
Yeah.
I
mean, it's just I feel like it's a natural human instinction, like for anyone that's moderately smart, is like, so there's one solution to this problem, which is like not buy the cow I need, or what other options do I have? And, like use your resources. So I feel like it's always been a thing, but it does make me think about like the way the government is set up now, and how I've always believed like the Constitution is a great constitution, but I also think like the more that I realize there's like things that have come about, for example, the amount of options for debt that make me think that there needs to be like significant adjustments or amendments to the Constitution based on just like, I don't know, like, or even a stateside thing, but like.
Well, if we're looking at the Constitution, right? The Constitution are a set of laws, or rules that we live by, right?
Yeah.
That define Americans.
Yeah.
The Constitution is not the rule of law.
Okay.
It's just the way we build things. We build law.
It's like the foundation for law.
It's a foundation of it, but I don't believe like it all resorts back to it. Like the foundation can set judicial precedents 100%. But
Yeah.
I think when we look at it, what we have to do is say, does our government really control all the laws?
It's usually a state thing.
Right?
Yeah.
But like even our state government, does our state government control the laws, or do we think that there is other actors, non-state actors, we'll call them?
Yeah.
If Tesla decides, maybe there's an EPA regulation that says you can only produce so much, waste or whatever. And then Tesla wants to bring, $20 billion worth of vehicles to a place.
Yeah.
Do you think that law is going to change in order to accommodate Tesla to bring money and wealth into the region?
It often does.
So, like, are our laws really determined by our politicians and the people, or are they determined by our businesses?
That's true. I never thought about it that way. I guess my thought is like, I almost feel like debt is a foundational problem. Like, I don't feel like it's a stateside like little thing.
Like
because
intrinsic. You think
it's
intrinsic?
an intrinsic, like we've been borrowing since the foundation of our country, and it's just stacked, which is like it's like, how do you run a business for like 200 years and not have it be profitable? Like, that just blows my mind.
Well, and like,
That's important.
who's going to
really
collect their
important.
debt from us?
Who are we in debt to?
China. Our trade deficit to China is like billions and billions and billions and billions, like 50.
But we have like 35 trillion, right?
You should watch
in debt.
Oh yeah, no.
What's the current debt?
Current debt? Yeah, can you look up current debt and then current trade deficit to China?
I think our current debt is like 35 trillion.
Yeah, I think it's like 50 trillion, but yeah.
And then when you look up the debt clock, if you could look at the actual numbers and count each time a dollar goes up.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then also something I think that's really funny is that, like, who's going to collect? Like, how are they going to do it? Are they going to show up at our house?
Whose house? Yeah.
They're going to go to the White House?
I don't know. That's true. I guess that's the point. How do we borrow though? We're just like,
President
hey,
Trump.
company, loan us money. Is that how that works?
I don't know.
So we are $36.2 trillion in debt.
Is that active debt? Because isn't there projected debt? Like, if we stopped right now, that there would be some projected debt.
There's like a straight up debt clock website. Yeah.
Yeah, because your number that you said, but I heard somewhere else. There's this interesting documentary called IOUSA, and what they do, this is filmed like 20 years ago now. I'm dating myself. I was like 16, 17 when it came out, and they went around and they're like, how much debt do you think America's in? And people were like, $10 million. Oh my God. $100 million. And the guy's like, no, man, like, it's got to be like maybe $1 billion.
Oh
Is it
my
that
gosh.
high? And they're like, no. And at the time, we were like $50 billion just in like trade deficit debt.
That's crazy.
So it was wild.
20 years ago, we were only in.
How you measure debt, I think, is really, it's not standardized. I think, like, because we have
It's obviously
things that
not
we already
perfect.
owe for, and then agreements that we have signed that we will owe for.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of hard to like figure
No,
out
the
exactly.
exact number. Yeah.
But like, what does the amount of debt we're in mean to Americans?
I don't know. For most, it doesn't mean anything.
How does it impact you at all?
I don't know. I'd assume my only thought is that it like, I'm guessing that it has some big correlation to inflation. But I guess my question is, like, is inflation inevitable?
I think every country in the world would say yes. Especially look at the African countries, but I think if you have a stable economy, then you can combat inflation.
Yeah.
Inflation is when the cost of goods. So inflation is essentially, say you had $1
Yeah.
and it's worth exactly $1. And then if inflation went up, which means, and you could buy 10 pieces of candy for $1.
Yeah.
And then the next year, you can only buy 5 pieces of candy for $1, that would be inflation going up. So it's the value of your dollar over years, and then how much it increases, right? And how much the value of your dollar decreases.
Yeah.
So inflation will go up and the value of the dollar will go down. And it's inevitable, I think, in a lot of economies. But
is that just due to like
fluctuations in the market and stuff like that? So there's a lot of things that contribute to inflation. But I think that and I don't really know them. I wonder if anybody
knows what.
Like if we just brought on we've got 5 people out there. Do you think they would be able to tell us anything about inflation?
Probably nothing like that matters. It's probably, I'm guessing it's like 1 in 100 people probably know a little bit that matters about inflation.
Do you remember when they had the big stink about fluoride in the water and how they thought it was poisoning people?
You mean just barely how Utah
got rid
banned
of it?
it? Yeah.
Okay. What do you think is more important, fluoride in the water or inflation? What do you think affects you more?
I honestly think if all Americans got off fluoride, that inflation would automatically reverse itself.
So we need to find a correlation between, we should look at Utah's inflation versus other states' inflation because we don't have fluoride.
Yeah.
And we should try to prove that where we live, you're better off without fluoride.
True. How has Utah changed? Utah just is going to become the next California or something.
I mean, it pretty much is.
Yeah, it is.
What they call the Silicon Slopes out here?
Do they?
Yeah, so Cali's the Silicon Valley, and then we're the Silicon Slopes.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, all the tech that's here.
That's so funny. Do you like California?
I really don't. I think I like the place. So
you hate everyone in California?
Not everybody in California.
Oh.
I just don't really like California. What about you?
Just certain races in California?
I think they no. That wasn't a pregnant pause. That was just me trying to answer the question. I think that if Californians were a race, then you could say yeah, I hate Californians.
Kind of is a race. I mean, no, that's not true. It's not even close to a race. No, I mean, I think if you talk to most Utah Mormons that aren't afraid of saying something a little bit bold, most of them are oh, we don't want all these Californians here, oh, what the hell? This is our place, Get your economy out of here. We like our government, stuff like that. But
yeah,
I think, I mean, and
Wyoming is the same way, dude.
And I mean, there's some reason behind that because I do think there's a lot of really freaking crappy things going on in California that are just totally unnecessary.
Can you name one? What's one?
There's a lot more violence in California. There's a lot more crime.
But there are more people there.
That's true.
And there are more people per capita there.
Yeah, that's a bad thing. You don't want more. You want to spread people out, right?
The Japanese don't, and their crime is 1/10 of what ours is.
That's true.
Maybe
that's
Japanese
just because it's harder for them to see.
No, that's not. That's not what it is.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Well,
I have friends.
I'm mostly just here to check you guys, everybody.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's
All right,
so funny. No, I'm just kidding. I actually really, really want to visit Japan. I love the Asian culture, and I know nothing about it. And I really want to know more about it because it makes me really, really, what's the word? Oblivious to what it means to live in the world.
Yeah.
Who there is in the world. I know nothing about their culture. So for that reason, I'm actually playing Assassin's Creed Shadows right now. And I'm playing as a ninja samurai.
A samurai?
Yeah, and that's how I'm learning about Japan.
Very cool.
It's actually really cool to tell you different things as you're playing the game, historical significance.
Do you think that they're factually correct?
I think that,
or does it really matter?
I think they're doing a lot of things that are factually correct. You're playing the game is completely fictional, which means fake, right? It's completely fictional, but it does have aspects where you'll see someone doing art and a thing pops up and it's hey, here's a cool thing to know about Japan, a real thing. But
could you give me a haiku about Japan?
I don't even know the parts of a haiku that
5,
make it
7,
haiku.
5. Hey,
5 words, 7 words, 5 words.
Can you give us a haiku about Assassin's Creed
Shadows,
Japan, learning the culture, and just wanting to visit Japan.
But it needs to be very asinine.
Yeah. So I lived in Japan for 3 years.
Okinawa.
In Okinawa. Yep.
That's so sick.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. My son was born there.
Really?
Yep.
No way.
In the
So
hospital.
he's
there.
Japanese.
He's not. He was born on an American base,
Oh.
so he's technically an American citizen.
Oh. Wait, so are American bases American land?
That's
So if they do anything to American bases,
if you commit a murder on an American base, that's like treated like you
like
murdered
war?
somebody in America.
Oh, okay. No
But
way.
if you committed a murder right outside the base, you're subject to the laws of the nation that you're in.
That's crazy.
In addition to
Yeah.
the laws of America. So you know what, if you're a service member and you get a DUI and you say you get drunk and you drive your car into a Japanese person in Okinawa, not only can you'll go to Japanese prison, right?
Yeah.
And through Japanese trial, then you'll go through military, right? And then you'll go through the US.
Really?
So you can get punished like 3 times.
So it's like 3 times better.
You guys ready for this?
Yep.
I feel like I shouldn't say them. Sneaky rice ball fight. Learned cultures from cartoons, bro. Ready for my quest. Climbed a bonsai tree, yelled parkour, and broke my pants. Ninjas would be proud. Studied samurai, thought katana. Katana?
Katana.
Katana. Thought katana meant hat. Guess I'm ready, right? Stabbed a tea kettle, whispered for honor at fish. Japan, here I come. And assassin jumps wrong, sips fake sushi from a shoe. Japan, here I come.
Yeah, that was pretty
Dang.
good.
Way to go, Riley.
Yeah, Riley, you
You're
did a
really
great
good
job.
at writing
By
multiple.
myself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
clearly.
I think wow. Another doctor is calling me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, maybe my health concerns are like more significant than I'm making them out to be.
I like how calm you are about this.
Listen, I think at this point, like, if it happens, it happens, you know?
Yeah.
The Spanish have a saying, que sera.
Que sera? What?
Sera. What will be, will be.
Where'd you get that?
It's a song.
Oh.
Que sera, sera.
Sera?
Da, 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 da,
Oh, it's
da,
a
da.
Spanish song.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yep. No, but like back to being racist in California. Was that the last thing we were talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I'm
The
not
last-
racist
the
against Californians.
I know, I'm just kidding.
anti-Cali. All right, so my wife and I went to go buy land in Wyoming,
Okay.
right? And her family has some like involvement in this community. Wyoming's really small, so it's very easy for like to go to like a board meeting or whatever, like a public council, whatever.
Yeah.
So we were like driving through and they had one, so I decided to stop in. And this guy was like yelling about how Californians are coming in and jacking up the price of all the property and
Yeah.
now no one can afford it. So we were looking to buy property there.
Yeah.
And I saw this house and it was like 56 acres, 2 miles of the Snake River, hay producing land, like a 4,000 square foot house built in 1959 out of
Oh,
wood.
Heck yeah.
Oh, dang, Cho Chang. So I was pretty excited. I show up and guess who it is? That guy.
Oh, no way.
So I was like, dude, I'm going to get a snag deal because he won't sell it to me for a California price.
Yeah.
So I was like, hey, man, like, I want to buy your house. Like, what do you want to sell it for? He was like, $1.5 million. I was like, oh. I was like, dude, it appraises for like 900. He's like, no, I think I can get 1.5. I was like,
So he's the problem?
from who?
The Californians.
I was like, oh wait, I literally wanted to be like, hey man, my buddy's house just burned down in L.A. He's got $2 million. Do you think you could sell your house to him? Of course, he'd be like, yeah. And the issue isn't money. Like, dude, I get it. Like you want more money for your stuff.
Yeah.
That's not. I'm not against that.
Yeah.
But like, don't show up to a city council meeting and being like, Californians are taking over, and then you only want to sell it to somebody with California money.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I was like, man, we're a Wyoming family. We want to raise Wyoming kids in Wyoming.
It's true.
Can you help us facilitate that? They said no. And I kept like, I was like, all right, 1.1. And he was like, no. I was like,
Oh my gosh.
okay. Well,
He's older.
yeah.
At that point, why does he even need money?
to pass on to his kids that have failed him.
Well, I guess if you care about other people in your life, that's fair.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. Talking about kids, let's talk about something important in our lives.
We both have dogs.
No, kids. Yeah, the dogs are cool too. You guys may not know, but Cole's gonna be a daddy here soon.
So close.
Like very.
This in the next 7 to 10 days. We scheduled an induction date. We weren't going to, and then we ended up scheduling one for I think it's May 5th.
May 5th. Okay.
Yeah, so
we're trying to have a.
This will probably come out after May 5th, but
if he's born in May, I'm gonna always, when it's his birthday, I'm gonna always send him a text message with Justin Timberlake saying, "It's gonna be May."
I love that. Yeah. And until he gets a phone, you can send it to me.
I will. Yeah, well, I figured I'd send it to you first.
Yeah, we'll probably wait to give him a phone until he's 2 or 3.
I was just gonna say, he needs to at least. You have to give him an iPad within the first was it 20 minutes, right?
Depends on how used to screens you want them to be. Because here's the thing: if you give your kids screens too late, they'll be scared of them.
And then they'll never want to use them.
Yeah, it'll turn on and they'll just run away like little dogs into the forest.
Well, I'd imagine that with today's technology, the way it's advancing so fast, there's no way that they could keep up.
True.
So you need to get your kid used to screen time immediately.
Definitely. What do you think of over face screen devices like Oculus or Vision Pro?
Yeah, my 8-year-old son has an Oculus.
Yeah.
And I have so many videos of him just doing weird stuff. He has a game where he gets to go to work and has a job and does things. And I'm like, dude, why don't you just get a real job? You're a man now. You're 8 years old. Yeah,
money.
you could God, you're just costing me electricity. You could be making money.
Turns out he is making money in that
He
job.
likes it. He's like a gorilla and he has a job baking cakes or something. I forget what. Hey, he's
It's
not a
so
gorilla.
funny. I feel like so many of kids' games are
Preparing
jobs.
them.
Yeah. It's
It's
oh, you're going to be a
preparing them.
firefighter. Why do you want to do that? Why don't you play a game where you're actually playing? Because you're going to be working really soon and it's for the rest of your life.
Well,
I actually did see what? Go ahead, sorry.
No, what if they didn't have to work the rest of their lives? What's that movie where everyone's fat and they live on a cruise ship, spaceship?
Oh,
is it WALL-E?
The Lion King? Just kidding. It's WALL-E. Yeah, it's WALL-E.
It's WALL-E? Okay. Can we fact check that?
That's Wally.
Yep.
It's Wally.
It's WALL-E. Okay. Thank you, Riley.
Fact checker.
Okay. I didn't think Lion King sounded right, but you never know nowadays.
Yeah.
They did a live action Lion King. That could have been it.
When I watched it, I thought it was about to turn into WALL-E, but then as soon as it started, there was no trash in the world, and I was like, okay, this is gay.
Yeah.
So I left the theater. But
You didn't want to hear Beyonce sing? What's your opinion on Beyonce?
I think most of Hollywood and celebrities are just pretty vain, unfortunately. But it's just I don't know as a person.
What happens if we get?
She's pretty scandalous, I guess.
What if we get? How is she Beyonce scandalous?
What?
I don't know. Maybe I'm just not in the know.
Have you not heard?
No, what happened?
Oh, she's oh, what's the whole thing?
I don't know.
Okay.
There's been a ton of conspiracy about her lately. Have you noticed that every single award show, everybody thanks Beyonce or mentions Beyonce? It's this whole thing that goes back to
Like Illuminati.
yeah.
Is
Yeah,
it
yeah, I have heard that.
Epstein Island type of thing or
Where
something?
if they don't thank her, they die.
No way.
Dying or,
That's
careers
insane.
fail,
That's insane.
and she's behind it all. Jay-Z, Diddy.
Oh, the whole Diddy thing.
Yeah, he's a
I
diddler.
actually don't know much about the whole
I
Diddy
don't
thing.
either. I just know that Diddy is a diddler, and I think that's very
Diddler.
ironic.
That's so funny.
Diddy diddler.
Diddy diddler. Going back to the screens for 2 seconds,
Yep.
and then I do have a thought about
Yeah.
celebrity thing. We were at Costco last night, right? And I texted you a picture of us. And you're
Got
like,
it.
we
I
love
got
you
it.
guys. And I assume when you said we love you guys, you were talking about you and your dog, unless it was you and your mouse or you and your wife. One of the 3 of those. But anyways.
That's a fair assumption.
We got pizza, and I was watching people leave because there's no screens to watch and we were not on our phones, and I saw a Chinese family, and it doesn't matter that they're Chinese.
Like, do you
it's
know
just
that they were
describing-
Chinese, or do you just mean Asian?
They were Asian.
Okay.
It's an Asian
We're
family.
gonna edit that out.
No, we're not. That's
boy.
so funny. It's kind of like calling like a white person like an American versus like a European. Like, you can't really tell the difference depending on where in Europe they're from. Like, I'm technically more European, but anyways, there's this family, and the son was probably like 5 years old. He had a Game Boy. The younger son was 3. He had an iPad with one of those blue cases and handles. And then there was a 2-year-old with an iPad, another iPad. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like,
You were envious.
I was envious
You wish you could afford all those
wish I
iPads?
had that many
Yeah.
devices. Just kidding. I have a lot of devices. No, but I actually I feel a lot of concern for kids because I have seen, in my life the effects that electronics can have. And I didn't even get electronics when I was like 2 or 3. I got them when I was like 8 or 9, 10. I was like 11 when I got my iPod Touch, But like, I definitely can tell it's affected my ability to focus. And that just gives me more to work on in terms of, things I can improve myself on. But I think, yeah, it makes me a little nervous for sure.
So are we giving Henry an iPad 20 minutes or like an hour after he's born?
I haven't talked to the wife yet, but I think she's going to say 20 minutes.
I think so too. Just
Some people are like, comes out of the womb, catch the baby, be
Yeah.
holding an iPad.
yeah, well, they're taking selfies with him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, with the iPad?
Yeah. What if
Yeah.
we could have a selfie stick, like
Oh,
like the
true.
nurse could.
I didn't think about
We
that.
could introduce it very early, because then he can get all the right angles, and I think that's the most important thing.
I love that. I have actually thought, what if we just live stream the entire thing?
That'd be really cool. Can we do it for like on TikTok for like galaxies and hearts and roses?
Yes.
There's that. What if we got like NPC like that Miles Morales guy?
Uh-huh. I don't know him.
Okay, he's
I
like
don't
the
know why I
Black
said
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Okay, you said like you knew. Do you know, Riley? Do you know what I'm talking about?
She's on TikTok.
Oh yeah, you're a TikToker.
No, it's my nephew.
Do you do TikToks?
Oh yeah. Well, I feel like I don't make them crazy amount, but I'd be on it.
We should
She's
we
scrolling
should
on
have
TikTok.
we should have Riley show us how to do a TikTok, and then we should make one. I think we should do that. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm down.
yeah. That's for another day. We're gonna
Do that like... She's like ready to do
Oh,
it
she wanted to do it right now.
I was about to find one that you guys could probably manage, but it'll be better if I
I'm curious. What do you think we could probably manage?
I want to make you do a dance.
We should do that at the end. Give ourselves a little bit of time and then film a dance.
Yeah, we could do whatever.
'Cause that's how you grow online, right?
Yeah, just turn around
Do we have to shake it?
a little bit.
I have nothing to shake, but I'll shake what I can shake.
Well, you shake what your mother gave you.
Yeah. I'm adopted, actually.
I mean, your mom still gave it to you. You just don't know her.
That's true. Well, when you put it that way. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, your mom still gave it to you. Just because she ran away after you were born does not mean.
Just because she dropped you off at the doorstep.
Did she drop you off
doesn't
at the door? Do you remember that?
No, obviously not. No, but I was. I
mean, obviously, maybe
my mom
some
was
people
young
do.
and she just had a kid already, and she's like, I just don't want to raise him in the environment we're currently raising him in.
Have you thought about doing DNA testing?
To know like my ethnicity.
No. To know siblings.
How like find out who my siblings are?
Yeah.
How would I know who they are?
Oh, if you have a DNA match, if you have a mitochondrial DNA match, they'll
Just-
show up.
Really?
Oh yeah, that's
Like
how
in
people
the
find.
database of the
Yes.
United States or whatever?
No, in like 23andMe, RIP. Yeah, like
Did you say
find.
RIP?
Yeah, because 23andMe is like shot now.
What happened?
They're like going bankrupt, aren't they?
Ancestry's taken over.
Ancestry,
Oh.
yeah. I got mine through
So
Ancestry.
just eating them up.
Yeah, like Pac-Man style.
Yeah.
No, you should do interest.
Is it weird that I like? This might sound bad,
Do you not
but
want
I
to
don't know if I want another mom and siblings. Like, is that bad?
I mean, you have them whether whether you want to
Yeah,
or
but
not.
right now I'm just like I've got 2 siblings and a mom and dad. I'm chilling.
And you live in this world
But then
where-
if I have another mom and probably a dad, and
That's
then
a lot more
siblings.
Christmas cards. Yeah.
Then I have to go to my parents' house. I have to go to my in-laws' house, and then I have to go to the other parents' house.
And then you have to go
it's
to my
like,
house.
okay, who do I love more? And I'm like, well, you birthed me, but you never raised me.
You gave me up.
Yeah. I actually don't. I have no.
Do you think
feelings
you were like
towards that,
dropped
but-
off like Benjamin Buttons?
What's that look for? I am adopted. In case you're like questioning if
You
I.
not ever tell me
Everyone questions me when I say that because I always joke about.
No, Cole
stuff.
was 100% adopted.
Yeah.
that. You never told me you were adopted.
Yeah, I just talked to
look
his
at the
mom the other
scar.
day. That's an adoption. That's a Harry Potter scar.
Adoption
I know where you're coming from.
yeah, I know.
Um,
Yeah,
I no, your mom. I met your mom. Wonderful lady.
Yeah, you did meet my mom.
Yeah, she said that you challenged her. Growing
about
up.
being adopted.
No. I just.
Oh, I was a challenging kid.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's a nice way to say autistic.
I was a challenged kid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're doing good
I
now.
was.
You know, honestly, he's pretty good for high functioning, don't you think? Like he fakes the funk pretty good.
Yeah, I'm fine.
I don't know if tics indicate autism.
Wait,
Okay, ADHD.
Oh, they do? I got prescribed ADHD. I got diagnosed with ADHD.
Riley has a tic, and sometimes when you talk about it, it like happens. But it's funny because you can copy her, and she thinks it's funny too.
Oh, wow, you have a very big vein in your forehead that is going on.
A
Oh,
lot
my
of people
goodness.
have that vein. That's pretty common.
Do I have that vein?
You have to be.
You have to be like smiling or like, or even a little bit embarrassed. I think I've noticed you get it when you're like on the spot. It's so funny. Yeah, there it is again. That's so
Yeah, when I
funny.
was talking about Riley's water shoes, well, alleged water shoes.
I thought they were stripper shoes. They look like the.
I'm going to ask you this question, and for your wife's sake, you may not want to answer this. How would you know what strippers wear?
From the movies, because the movies are real life.
You watch stripper movies?
That's all I watch.
Touche. No, I'm glad that we clarified that.
Do you? Is that not all you watch?
No, I've been to a
Well,
strip club
I
before.
stopped the movie right when they start stripping, but I just like everything that
You
happens.
fast forward after you. I got kicked out of a strip club once when I was in the Marine Corps.
Strip clubs are really big in the Marine Corps, right?
Very big. So like around every single base, there's like 4 things. There are strip clubs, right? There are like real estate, firms.
Wait, what?
There's tattoo parlors,
Okay.
and then there's liquor stores everywhere.
Yeah.
So like those things.
Real estate firms?
Yeah. So like to sell a house, everyone's a real estate
What's
agent.
the dopamine rush in that?
I don't know, but like buying and selling houses.
Like
That'd
to
be-
you guys?
Yeah, but the VA loan is guaranteed, so that's why
Oh.
there's a lot. I'm just saying, like there are 4 main things.
Yeah,
but,
yeah, no, that's
But the strip
interesting.
clubs, alcohol, liquor stores, and tattoo parlors are like everywhere. So this is like 2011, and I don't know. We're about to go to Afghanistan, and my buddy Charlie, who had a code name, and it was Alex Long was his. Charlie, I hope you watch this. I'm gonna send it to you. You're divorced from that woman now, so we can talk about it. Honestly, his ex-wife is a wonderful person. No issue with her. But anyway, so Charlie used to go by Alex Long when he would meet people.
Yeah.
But we decided to go out to a strip club called Cherries one night. It was out the back gate of Camp Lejeune. And we're out there, and it was nickel draft night. So you could get a draft, a glass of beer for 1 nickel,
Oh no way.
which is pretty dangerous.
How do they make money that night? Oh, the
Sometimes it's
strippers.
yeah,
Duh.
yeah.
I've clearly been to a lot of strippers.
Yeah. So the drunker you are, the more money you throw, and there's no correlation that I need Riley to look up. That's a fact. Anyway, so we're there, we're young, and mind you, this is not advocacy for strip clubs. This is me telling you why you should stay away. Anyway, so it's nickel draft night. We're getting pissed, is what the British call it. So
Pissed.
we're just getting drunk.
Wasted.
Yeah, drunk. And this bouncer kept telling me not to touch the girls, but I wasn't. I was like sitting in my seat, and this girl kept like pulling on my shirt and touching me, and I'd like move her hand off of me because I was like, I don't want stripper glitter on my
Stripper glitter.
on my clothes. So I kept pushing her hand away, and then she'd reach it, and I'd smack her hand. Well, he came up to me, and he's like, I'm not telling you one more time, don't touch the dancers.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, okay. So one more time, she thought it'd be funny to like put like, I don't know, she's like trying to put her legs around me. I was like, oh no. So like shoved her legs away in the middle of the dance. This guy grabs me, and I might have had like, I don't know, like 25 cents worth of beer. So like 5 beers. So I'm pretty, I'm feeling pretty good. Well, this guy grabs me and starts dragging me out the club.
No way.
And then I see the night manager, and he's like there, and he's got this like pinstripe sport coat on, and this creepy mustache, and these thick like glasses like you have, like with amber lenses or whatever.
Yeah.
And he was like, throw him out. And I was like, oh, it's Chester the molester, like I'm talking my trash. And so the guy grabs me and throws me out. Like literally throws me on the ground. And I fall on the ground, and I'm on the ground like this. And they took a picture on a phone. And then
up.
And then they had a thing. They actually printed the picture no, they were using it to like, I'm not allowed to come back in, but it's me on the ground. Well, my buddy Charlie, that'd be funny to get the picture. And when I went to work on Monday,
he gave it to you?
That picture was posted all throughout the battalion.
You on the ground?
Me on the ground after getting kicked out of a strip club.
No way.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
So
Do you hold that picture dear and close to you?
I really don't. I don't even know if it's out there anymore. And if it was, it is what it is. But it was just something funny.
That's so funny.
So that's yeah. So, I think strip clubs should be avoided pretty much at all costs.
Yeah.
I mean, unless
Unless you're a stripper.
unless you're a stripper, yeah. Then I think it should be like.
Where else are you gonna go?
Yeah. Well, there are other places, but
I heard Hooters is shutting down. I've never been to Hooters, but I've heard like
the idea of a restaurant is just kind of uncomfortable. They're called restaurants.
No
Did you
way.
know that?
Really?
Yeah, it's just sexploitation of women.
Well, yeah, of course.
Like, let's be honest, Riley.
I mean,
do you
there's a
think a
reason I've
man
never
thought
been.
of Hooters or a woman?
100% I think it was a man.
Okay, yeah. I just,
should lower your mic, by the
I
way.
think it was a woman.
I thought it could have been an industrious woman, like a woman that like was like, what, I can make.
Sexually confident.
Yeah, and she was like, I can.
I mean,
Yeah,
there's a lot of women like that, but women aren't legally allowed to start businesses. I can't remember how it
It was
goes.
started by 6 men.
6 men.
6 men, yeah.
Wow. So 6 times the amount of what you were thinking it was.
And they originally launched the idea on April Fool's Day because they thought that it was going to fail.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And it did fail now.
Born to fail, yeah. No, I think
It just lasted a decent amount of time.
40
How-
years, 30 years.
Was it?
1983.
Okay,
Oh,
yeah.
dang.
4 years.
Should lower your mic so you don't blow into it. Just in terms of like height.
I'm only whispering into it when I'm not there.
Okay. Sick.
But I can-
Cole's oddly specific about that mic placement.
Because I know they don't have pop filters on them, so if you like your P's and Q's, it'll like pop.
If I have a lisp, will it pick
yeah,
it
or
up?
even off to the side.
Will it pick it up really bad if I have a lisp?
Particularly, it'll actually like echo your list because it likes to make fun of people.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a big problem.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, restaurants.
That's
What an
crazy.
idea.
But there,
And
wait,
yeah, so it started by
there's
6
only
men.
Hooters though, right?
No.
Really?
Twin Peaks, Hooters, Taco Bell after 11 p.m.
Okay. What Taco Bells are you going to?
Obviously not the same ones you are. I can give you a list afterwards if you'd like. For research. I think
Sure.
for science.
We'll say that.
For science.
I never asked for this on record though.
Okay, but off record you did.
Yeah.
Now it's on record.
Restaurants? That's crazy.
Restaurants, yeah. And that's what they call them. Restaurants.
Restaurants?
Can you type in restaurants and see if that's a widely coined term? It could be.
Clearly, it's not.
It's the first thing that popped up when I looked up BREA.
Well, that's good.
Restaurant is a restaurant that requires female waiting staff to be dressed skimpily. Term dates from the early 1990s after restaurant chain Hooters opened in the United States.
Restaurants. That's
Let's go, yeah.
crazy.
I think honestly, women don't need to work at Hooters anymore because they can go get an OnlyFans and then they can make way more money.
What do you think of OnlyFans?
I'm not a fan of OnlyFans.
I mean,
I'm not
it's
their
just
only fan.
Basically pornography.
Yeah, it's sexploitation. My biggest issue isn't I like the fact that these women can go and like be their own bosses and do whatever they want to. I think it's like that's good. I really think the issue is that like what is it worth?
Yeah.
Like what's like your dignity? Like
Yeah.
what's it worth? But if you're okay with that, then like who am I to judge? I don't judge you. I would never be like, we have friends that have OnlyFans. I've got no issue with it. I'm not curious about what's on it.
Yeah.
I feel like that just crosses into a, like, I don't know if we could be friends after that.
I think,
Like, I just saw your butthole, like, let's be friends.
yeah, that's freaking weird. I think, like, obviously technology has enabled it, but it's like something that's always been there. It's just a different form of itself, and there's way more people in the world. But I think
Prostitution
but I
is
do think it is.
the oldest
bad.
profession in the world, right?
You think so?
Can we get a fact check?
It's in the like top 200 or something.
I just think that like
Prostitution.
it's the oldest
What?
profession in the world.
That's crazy.
Don't ask me how I knew that. I've been around. No, I think
Prostitution and then midwifery.
wow. Well, because you have
Wow.
to have sex before you have a baby.
When you put it that way. But yeah, that makes sense.
I wonder if can we draw a correlation between prostitution and
Cancer?
no debt and loans? Do you think people started loaning out? Do you think pimps were just like that's the original form of loans?
Debt?
Yeah, debt was like dude,
Prostitution.
I really need like can I get a go?
A firm for
A firm for
OnlyFans?
yeah.
That's crazy.
You know,
So there's not a huge correlation between the two, but there is actually a stat that 90% of sex workers will be forced into debt that is not repayable in their lifetime. So they have sex workers are more likely to go into debt.
They'll be forced into debt.
Well, because a lot of the time they have like a manager, PM, you
pimp.
could say, where you will always owe them money, and that's why a lot of women get stuck in prostitution is because they constantly
So I think we should stop the table. Do we think just like for women, OnlyFans is better than a restaurant or prostitution? At least they're working for themselves.
Is it? I don't know if there's like.
It's a tough.
How could it be better? I mean, I guess in theory, like not being in person with the person that's like lusting after you would be technically safer, but I think like it's probably still almost just as demoralizing. Has there been a time in your life where you, because I feel like I've heard of you having a pretty radical shift in your viewpoint related to like God and humanity.
Yeah.
Do you think there's been a time in your life where you had less of an opinion on if lust was bad compared to where you're at now?
100%. I think that even if you look like 3 or 4 years ago, I for sure had a problem with like lusting after women. It was a part of the culture in Special Operations Command that like you're gone all the time, you're TDY, you're TAD, you're on a trip, you're in San Diego, you're in good shape, you've got per diem money that the government's giving you to spend, you're gonna go out and you got a hotel room, you're just gonna do whatever you want to do. And I think that was so common in the culture. And like one of the biggest problems is like I think a lack of like morality in our culture. And to be honest, a lack of morality isn't necessary to kill humans. I don't believe like you need to be, scrupulous to
Do you think it makes it harder?
No.
You don't think there's any correlation to
No, I don't.
If
being a
someone
God-fearing
kills
person,
someone, they're more likely to be lustful or want to.
I think
like-
based off our culture, yes, but I don't believe that person is. I'm gonna call out my buddy Sam Hodges, and Sam, if you see this, shout out to you, Marine Raider, a fantastic man, lethal warrior, also a great Christian. I've had a plenty of good talks with him, and I look up to him greatly. He's got a farm now in North Carolina and some beautiful kids and a beautiful wife, and and he's doing all those things. But he beat, like when we were just talking about that, I was thinking about him, and he beat the quotidian. He beat the average of what a special forces guy was. He was faithful. He was true. He was honest. And I'll be honest, I think sometimes he might have been ostracized for being like,
I would imagine,
more,
because being more honest is usually like not the cool thing to do.
Yep.
It sounds gay, but it's true.
Yeah. And so he did the right things even when no one was looking. And I don't want to speak for him and say every single time he did that.
Yeah.
But I know, like, he's a good Christian man, and that means whatever it means to people. But, like, he definitely wasn't, if we were going out to strip clubs or going somewhere, he wasn't going. He's like, I got to go home, call my wife. And that makes you think, do some self-reflection.
Dang.
But then the boys are calling. It's time to go bong a beer out of a shoe, and, you know.
It's so hard when, like, the right thing to do, it means, like, no community.
Yeah.
Because as humans, we want community, you know, like, we want to be around people. Like, even on, like, on a simple level of, like, even lack of, like, morality, like, what I'm trying to say is, even in a completely different scenario, unrelated, like, sometimes I will prefer to work with someone, for example, Riley, even if it means that I'm probably going to get less done, or I'm not working on the things as much that I want to, because it's hard for me to want to work alone. That's just how I am naturally. Yeah. So I think it's hard as humans to, like, want to do the right thing.
Yeah, we work better in a team.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, have you read Sebastian Junger's Tribe? Yeah, you should read that.
Tribe.
It's really good. It speaks about those aspects of humanity and humanity. I said humanity.
Do you think we always work better as a team?
No. No. My father-in-law is a badass dentist, and he's very much like, go at your own. Like, he's gonna run at his pace, and either you can keep up or you can't.
Yeah.
And he just doesn't have an intention to slow down. I respect the heck out of him, and I think he's a wonderful man, and he loves his family and loves his patients, but he's not like a great team player.
Yeah.
And I think because the teams he's been on, he's been the best. Yeah. And it's really hard when you're looking at getting better and better, and then your teammates can't support, you know.
I think that's actually a lot of men's, like, biggest hindrance is, like, that's one of my strengths, but I have a lot of other weaknesses that make it more difficult for me to grow in a business sense, is, like, you know, having a community around you. Most guys, you know, you need to be independent, you need to be able, you need to, you know, be able to work hard alone, you need to be able to be successful alone. Like, I think there's a lot of sense of, like, aloneness, and
but don't you believe that community is a hallmark of American, like, fortitude and fruition? Like
I think it used to be way more than it is now, which is
but don't we like, if we really looked at it though, wouldn't we say people want more community?
Yeah.
Look at the country's divided in half. The election will show you that.
Yeah.
Or there are people on one side that just claim that they're using, like, science and, like, common sense, and the other people are claiming to use feelings and emotion and whatever. I don't think either side is right. I think both sides are really wrong. But I definitely think that they're just striving for community. I don't think you just dye your hair purple and then want to kill babies, you know, via abortion because you really believe that's a good idea. But if everyone tells you that it's for women's reproductive rights, then all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, all my girlfriends are saying this. Like, I want to be a part of that. Like, you know, and I believe in women's reproductive. I mean, like, generally, Cole, if I had to ask you, like, do you believe women should have, like, a say in their reproductive rights?
Could you rephrase your question? I understand what you're saying.
Do you think women should be allowed to decide what they do with their bodies? Should we only open the vote to women?
No, I think we should have a say too. But I think we should ask Riley as well. I think the question is if you believe that the choice should stop, because the problem is there's people that believe the choice stops at when you chose to have sex. And then there's people that think you should have a choice no matter what. But the thing is, when they say have a choice, it's not like you're going in and just like drinking cyanide. Like, it's not as easy. It's not like something you do on your own, usually, you know? It's usually
a bunch of people are
process.
complicit. And
Exactly. So it's hard because it's like there has to be people around you to help support you do that thing. It's not as simple as like,
do you think the government should support that?
I think that there's a time and place for it, but I think life is too sacred to let babies die after they have been,
Like their hearts have been beating and they've been growing.
Yeah, as soon
nails and
as
hair.
they've been growing. Like I don't think there's a point in a pregnancy where the life is like
Less valid than before.
Like my sister-in-law, for example, and brother-in-law, you know them, Sam, they had a miscarriage, and a lot of people can't relate to this, but for them it was like heartbreaking, and for our family it's heartbreaking.
Yeah,
and it was
absolutely.
really early on, but it doesn't mean it was like, it's not even potential life, it like was life, you know,
And that
and
life
it was
is growing.
growing. Yeah, and I think like having been adopted and knowing how many families at all times there are that want to adopt, it's hard for me to think like, knowing that most abortions are due to like desire to not have a kid instead of, you know, health issues or being raped or yada yada. Like, I think knowing how many families want to adopt makes me feel like there's just, I think that
You think that
we need to grow up as a society and understand that like when you have sex, that means you're going to have a baby. And if you're able to bear that baby, then you should pass them on to someone else if you don't feel like you're ready for that. That's my opinion.
Yeah. You know, I think like if I had to look at, and I want to get Riley's opinion too.
Me too.
But I think I 100% would never get an abortion. It's not something that I think
You
is.
can't.
I would never advocate for my partner to get an abortion.
Yeah.
For my wife to do that. That being said, if they said, you know, people always ask like, you know, your wife could die during childbirth of this or that, or like those are really extreme one-offs, and like I think you should resort to prayer and counsel.
What if you don't believe in God?
Counsel.
That's why you said that.
Yeah,
That's
you know,
fair.
like you should resort to like you need to go and discuss it, and then come back. And honestly, I'm very glad that we give people that choice. I think it's a very hard choice to make, but it's a choice that if you're put in that position, you have no choice but to make. It's inevitable.
Basically a surgery, right?
Correct. And I think there's a difference between a surgery and then like I made a bad decision 5 months ago and then I want to get rid of it. That being said, I think women should be able to do whatever they want with their bodies. I think if a woman wants to get an abortion, that should be on her and she will be judged or not. I don't think it's negative. If a woman says, I just don't want to have this baby, then like, cool. I don't agree with that personally, and I don't think that that's right.
Yeah.
But I also don't think I should be able to make that choice for her. So I do believe like
I guess
you're a woman, it's your right.
It's hard because I don't know if the question is should she be able to do that? Should society accept and like
No, it should
in
not.
terms of like doctors be able to do that, you know, because the thing people say is like, well, if you make it illegal, then
Now,
there's just going to be
doctors
doctors that are going to do it in hiding or whatever, you know,
which 100%, you know,
which is true. So it's just like,
we don't want that.
But I almost am on the side of like, I disagree with it, so I don't want to promote it.
they should make it
know?
so hard to do.
I
Like
agree.
I think that every state should have one abortion clinic in the capital city.
Yeah.
And if you need to go there, they should pay. If you have to go there and get it done,
The wait list should be 9 months.
like it's like going to see a cardiologist. Like, yeah, that would be so funny. 9 months on a wait list. No,
need to
but like,
clip that.
but like the state government should fund the people. Like if they need transportation, they should be able to get transportation.
People
there.
that are just like, I'm just gonna do this.
No, I think it should be like a doctor or a psychologist.
No, I'm saying like any woman, no matter the circumstances.
No, I don't believe that. I think that it should be a medical necessity. You know, it's kind of like and every other thing in life we agree with. You know, if you drink and you drive and you get a DUI, I mean, are you going to make a justification for people that drink and drive? Oh, well, like, they didn't want that DUI, so just get rid of it. Like, oh, well, they didn't mean to.
DUIs
They
are
actually,
never okay, right?
they had a.
The problem with DUIs is it's not that you actually did something wrong. Like,
It's the potential for you to do something wrong.
It's the fact that you could have killed someone or caused damage to someone else's property.
It's just a way to prevent people from drinking and driving, right?
Exactly.
So, like when you have something like an abortion for any reason, you're not preventing people from making safe sex choices or abstaining, and I don't think you should abstain from sex if that's not what you want to do. But that being said, like, practice safe sex, use a contraceptive. There are things that you can do that you can still get your rocks off, so to speak, and also be safe and not produce a child.
Yeah.
But like, I really think it was funny when I was talking to somebody about the election that just happened.
Yeah.
Between what was her name? Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. Obama and Donald Trump. No, between Kamala and Trump. I think that I was like, what's your biggest motivating factor? Because I think a lot of us were like single issue voters.
Yeah.
Like, I was very big on the border. I thought border security was very important to me.
Yeah.
You know, and I guess I got border security. Maybe the other things that came along with it, I'm not very thrilled about. But like, she said abortion. And I was like, that's what matters? And she was like, yeah, that's women's reproductive rights. And I was like, well, I'm all for women's. Who doesn't want a woman to.
Women's reproductive rights, even? Like, I don't. This might sound stupid.
Well, they
but I
can't
feel like that's
reproduce
such a
without
silly
a man.
term.
So that's a weird thing, too. Okay, Riley.
Yeah. So my take on it is that only about 3% of abortions are medically necessary. The rest.
So do you like my idea of like one central spot in the state where you could go?
I think that is a good viable option, but I also agree with the whole idea that like if you make it harder for people to do it, they will do it anyways. And like 20% of abortions happen because somebody's homeless. And yes, I agree that your actions have consequences, and if you decide to have sex, a baby might be the consequence.
Yeah, but they can't afford contraceptive.
You can't afford contraceptive. You also, like, I'm not gonna force that woman to carry that baby to full term, because what if, you know, they could be addicted to anything, and that baby could have a really horrible.
You're saying like drugs or alcohol?
Yeah.
But wouldn't we argue that like a psychologist or a medical doctor could rule like, look, this person is incompetent, or their current status is like, don't you think that should be ruled on by somebody?
Monetary status?
No, but I'm saying, if your monetary status, how many homeless people have mental health issues?
Right.
I mean, that the number's huge. Like,
How many?
Probably a high correlation.
Yeah.
So-
I can see that.
Think I'm in the same boat where, like, I would never have an abortion no matter what, unless it was like, you know, this baby's gonna kill me kind of thing.
Even then, there's still a chance that, you know, there is an aspect of like, I mean, I'm not saying you would want to die for a baby, but there is the side of like us being believers in God, you know, and miracles happening.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it kind of depends. If I'm told, I still believe that doctors, like, know things. If a doctor tells me
100%.
if you carry this baby to full term, I probably won't have the baby.
no, because then you can't have more babies, which is our whole
That's true.
The goal of being here, and I have a husband that, like,
needs you.
that needs me.
Yeah.
But
He won't
I
eat
think
without
it
you.
Should be. He won't.
He actually stands. He
That's a
actually
thing.
stands by the dinner table until she shows up.
Yeah, I think it should be far more difficult to get abortions.
Yeah.
And I think that in the sense of reproductive care for women, it should be more of like, there should be better contraceptives for women that don't like horribly, or are less likely to horribly deform your body, or it should be easier to, like, if you make the decision of I don't want to have kids, you should be able to do that. It should be.
Should you be castrated? Should you be like?
Well, that's almost what I don't really actually think that, but I almost think that it should be easier to.
So we should have the government invest. Yeah, we should have the government invest in like a more permanent, you know, like contraceptive solution.
Yeah,
Like,
so if you're really like, I don't want to have kids, but also I'm not going to
It's like wanting your.
Make that decision, make that full decision, and go all the way.
Amen.
Don't be able to have kids.
It's like wanting your what's it called and wanting having your cake and eating it too. It's like you want the best of both worlds, but it's like
That's
okay,
not
well,
realistic.
Last time I checked, there's contraceptives that actually don't affect you during sex, from what I've heard, called condoms, and I'm just like, I don't know. I think.
Condoms also aren't reliable.
They're not.
They're not fully reliable.
What kind of condoms are you buying?
Yeah, I think condoms are fully reliable. I think if you wear it properly.
Freak though, and like.
Oh wow, he can break them. Oh my goodness! Wow,
No, listen.
that's intense. That vein is going. That vein is huge right now. Whoa, gotta meet that guy.
I have an IUD, but the
You have an. I was hit by an IED too.
You're so stupid.
But the thing is, like, those are so freaking expensive, and I didn't know this, but when I got my IUD, I was in between insurances, and so I wasn't covered when I got it, and I now owe like $1,200.
IUDs are expensive.
Yes.
I don't know. The Taliban have been making them for pretty cheap for a long time. You should outsource your
Taliban.
your IUD.
They have their ways.
Oh,
That's
are you saying IUD?
Yeah.
I thought you were saying IED,
Oh my gosh, no.
What's an IED?
improvised explosive device.
Yeah, no, I did.
When I got my IED the other day, it was $1,200.
I was like,
Can
no,
you
the-
believe the prices on these things?
Yeah, the Taliban have been outsourcing. Like, you're in the wrong
So
country.
dumb. That's so funny.
No, I think that this is good conversation, and I think this is where we should naturally like end this. But before we do that, Cole, I want to talk about like what politic is.
Yeah, I was agreeing. We need to come back to this whole conversation because it feels like it's like 25% done.
Yeah.
The whole abortion thing. But what is politic? Do you like the name politic?
Yeah, I like
I
it.
feel like it's unique, like no S.
Yeah, politic.
Yeah, and I also feel like that lets us take it any direction. But what is politic? I think my vision for the longest time has been that there is no such thing as sitting on the fence. Like people say they're on the fence, you know, they're like, oh, I'm not blue or red, or if even blue or red are like exactly the
I'm not
division,
for,
but-
immunizations, but I am like I'm on
Yeah.
the fence about whether to get, vaccines for my baby. It's like, no, you're not.
Yeah, well, you're going to have to make a choice. At some point, in your life, for a lot of people, and the time is coming closer, in my opinion, in terms of like where a country's at, you will have to make a choice, and you make choices every day. So I think what my problem has been growing up is I've grown up with my parents telling me things, but I've never known what to do about it. And I'm not going to lie, like I don't think like protesting at the Capitol really does that much from what I've heard. I haven't heard of many things that were changed because of protests. I could be wrong, like in terms of just like protesting the Capitol. But where I'm going with this is I have this vision where there is a way to bring community to people in the U.S. Young people, starting with young people our age, 20s, 30s, but giving people community and helping us know as young Americans, we need to know what we can do, because if you do nothing, then things will just get worse.
Yeah, agreed.
And I really think like there is an aspect of me that's like, well, I know I can do media. I know how to produce content, and I want to be able to utilize that. So to be able to reach that end goal at some point, someday, being able to grow this, I know I enjoy laughing, and I enjoy having good conversations, and I want to have more opportunities to have good conversations and be in person with people instead of be on a Zoom call. So if what that means is just having in-person conversation in front of a camera and then being able to share those online.
Yeah.
For me, it's I think similar to you. Like I just want to have a good time and have fun. But I do think for me, it is also I would love to build a brand out of it long term. I'm not here to be like, oh yeah, like I don't really care if this does nothing for 10 years. Like I do think if you do something well for long enough, people will recognize that.
Yep.
As long as you don't like, walk into a forest and film a guy like being hung on a tree,
Yeah.
Like,
I think, you can pretty much do whatever you want.
yeah. Other than
Didn't
that,
like one of the Paul brothers do that?
yeah, it was Logan Paul. But he's had a huge comeback.
Yeah, he's got a great
because
comeback.
I heard this the other day. He had a podcast, and because of his podcast, people saw that he's genuine, and he actually isn't like that. And he does care about people, so they're able to see like, okay, he made a really stupid mistake. Basically, don't do it again, or you'll actually be canceled, type of thing.
Yeah, I think the Paul brothers are no matter what you think of them, they're brilliant people.
They're very smart.
Yeah, and they they know how to market themselves.
Yeah,
and
so
also they know how to beat people up.
They do. They're good at that, and I think it's fun to see that. So for me, I think like I just want to have some good conversations, and I also know nothing about politics compared to a politician, for example, and I want to learn more, and I want to bring people on that know more than me, and or have like different opinions than me and just discuss them. How about you?
Yeah, I think Politik for me is a way to sit down and take a culmination of a life of travel, a life of experiencing different social and geopolitical situations throughout the world, and then bring him here and saying, hey, look, like, I really don't know anything either.
Yeah.
Like, I know a lot of things. I've experienced a lot of things, and I've seen a lot, but, like, I don't know the first thing about the first thing.
Yeah.
So, like, clearly there's a need, right? We're about 10 years in age gap, right? Like, I was born in 91. You were born in
2000.
Okay, yep. So 10, 11 years age difference there. And what I think we're both showing is that there's a need for 20s and 30-year-old to have something that to help guide them or help them figure out like what side of the fence they need to sit on. And I think it's incumbent upon us who have the ability to sit down and make this happen. And I do believe that this podcast, whether we do it for fun, whether it's ever monetized, whatever comes of it, I think that at the end of the day, we're helping people. And I think we're helping ourselves. And so even if we only help ourselves, I think it's worth whatever we're doing.
Yeah, I love that.
And having open, honest conversations with people, young men, young women, old men, old women, professionals, amateurs, the alike. I think we are able to stimulate the part of people's brains where they get to hear regular people talking about regular stuff that actually impacts them. Like, let's be real. Like, do we really care about fluoride in our water?
I don't know if I do.
Yeah, I don't know either. And like, my father-in-law's a dentist, so maybe yeah, because he's watching this. But like, do we really care about inflation?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that affects you.
Very
so like,
directly,
how do we cipher through all the BS that we see on a day-to-day basis? And also, how do we have fun? How do we throw out some outlandish things out there and let people talk about those things? I think in this podcast, you're going to hear us say some things that may seem off the wall. You don't know if they're true or not.
Only we'll know that.
Yeah, only we know. But you can fact check it, and you can look us up, and you can let us know. You're more than welcome to comment and talk about how we're wrong or how we're right or your opinion on it. And we welcome, that interaction.
Yeah. I think this is just a way for us to have fun.
Yeah. Therapy. All right. Well,
Politik
I think
is therapy.
Yeah, Politik is therapy.
That's funny.
That we should get. Do people do
Like merch.
Yeah, Politik is therapy. Yeah, I was thinking like bumper stickers.
I wanna when we create merch, I want to create a clothing line that is like an actual, like not just like so many YouTubers have like stupid
Their
clothing.
name on it. Yeah.
Yeah,
But like,
well, yeah, or just like the brand name, which is fine. But I'm like, if you could design something that's actually cool, like with high quality apparel, and have like freaking something funny, like I want to make a T-shirt that says like I heart Red 40 or something, stuff like stupid stuff like that.
That's
I think
ironic,
would be
yeah.
So funny.
yeah, like imagine you're wearing like Lululemon, but it just says like Politik and graffiti on it. People are
Yeah,
like, dang, dude, that's
yeah.
dope. And you're like, where'd you get it? It's like, dude, these guys from Utah did a podcast. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I
And
love
they both
that.
really like designer
Oh,
stuff.
and you love clothes.
I do love it. Yeah,
That's
today
cool.
I'm dressed to go. Or we're actually going to Richfield, and we're gonna go mountain biking and dirt biking
Heck yeah.
and camping. So I'm in my camping apparel. Do I look
So
very
fun.
camping like?
You do.
Normally I'm like designer shoes.
Yeah, usually you have a bunch of nice clothes on.
Yeah, but today I still have nice clothes. I think.
I can't see the brand names, but I'm sure they're nice. That was good.
That's the best
Think-
part.